Okay, here we go. All right, I have hit record. So take one of the Jennifer Lee promo. Go.
Hi, this is Jennifer Lee with GracefulAndGumption.com, speaking with Jeff Smith today from Vroom, Veer, and listen up to what we are going to talk about.
Sweet. Well done. Thank you.
Oh, thank God.
First try.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
You got it all, and you didn't take notes. You sounded a little scared, but thanks for trying and playing along. All right, I'm going to hit stop and start a new file. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom, Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom, Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Duran, thank you so much for being on Vroom, Veer, and welcome to the show. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I love being on lifestyle podcast every so often,
easier, right?
Instead of the business ones can get a little repetitive. So I
right.
like
Amen. Yes, so true. Okay, so you are Erica Duran at ericaduran.co. So talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in your business today.
Yeah, most exciting in the business today is I've just restructured my VIP day intensives because I believe that in order to get the big shifts that people are looking for, they need to get out of their environment. So we go to a beautiful place. Now they can be virtual and people just go to a place in their town and I go to a place wherever I'm at that's beautiful, but you need to get out of you need to get out of your environment and to make those really big shifts and get the results that you're looking for. Every time that I've made a big leap, it's been from changing my environment.
It helps. It helps.
It really does. Otherwise you're just in a rut and your creativity is just out the window.
The brain's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's always programming itself.
Right.
Okay, so this is Vroom, Veer. So we know you're the awesome Erica Duran of ericaduran.co, and you do amazing VIP intensives, either virtual or otherwise. But before that, so we have to go back in time and talk about you as a child or maybe in high school. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California and I was an only child. So I was surrounded by a lot of animals all the time, dogs and rabbits and lots of pets and things like that. Pretty normal, I guess, upper middle class kind of situation.
Were you in the Valley? Were you in Hollywood?
Orange County.
Orange County. Okay. Yeah. I just moved from Torrance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In 2017, I lived in Torrance for way too long. I actually was, there's an Air Force base in El Segundo. So that was my last Air Force assignment. That's how I ended up in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much Southern California. I was born in Riverside, but moved to Orange County pretty quickly.
Okay.
And then, so I was an only child. So my mom didn't know really what to do with me. So we had annual passes to Disneyland. So it sounds like I was spoiled, but we really went to Disneyland almost every weekend. And then I started working there in high school.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. For 5 years, I was everyone thinks I was a character, but I was a restaurant manager because they made double the money. So I opted for restaurant management. And I also have a degree in hotel and restaurant management. And I think that all stems from my mom being a travel agent. And she used to take me as her companion on these trips.
Right.
Because my father they were definitely together, but my dad preferred to go on safaris and hunts and things like that.
Gotcha.
So that's also how I got into liking luxurious things, but also minimalistic things, because a lot of
an interesting combo. We'll get into that. Right.
Yeah, minimalist luxury.
Yeah,
because the hotels, if you look at them, a lot of them are very, very beautiful and high end and marble and everything, but there's no clutter anywhere. It's only what's necessary or beautiful. So I think that's where that came from.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, just normal high school, college. I went to Cal Poly Pomona, hotel restaurant management, like I said, and then corporate. And then I went right into hotels after college. I got out of the Disneyland 24/7 kind of working, and was a hotel executive for quite a long time, 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you mostly in Southern California, or did you travel around a lot?
Yeah, I was mostly in Southern California, but I was in
Nothing wrong with Southern California. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was in charge of the western region of the U.S. and Hawaii. So,
Hawaii. Nice.
Yeah.
That's where the aloha came from. Okay.
Yeah, that's where all my branding comes from.
I lived in Hawaii for almost 4 years. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we can talk Takain, sista.
Yeah. I go there about 3 to 5 times a year for about a month or so.
Nothing wrong with Hawaii. Hawaii's amazing. Yeah. Last time I went to Hawaii was 2007. Like right after I retired from the Air Force, or maybe I was getting ready to retire, something like that. Like towards the end of my career. My wife's from Japan, so her parents still live in Japan, and they flew to Hawaii, and then we picked them up. And had a Hawaii thing with her parents. It was
That's amazing.
It was a blast. Yeah, and then some friends that we knew in the Air Force were still living there. They had left and gone back. Actually, we knew them in England, and then they were in Hawaii, so we had to stop and hang out with them. So that was kind of fun.
Oh, amazing.
Hawaii is so awesome. You get off the plane and it smells like flowers, and there's people,
it does.
Yeah.
Totally.
Flowers and jet fuel. You know you're in Hawaii. So, okay. So sounds like you had a blast even when you were working.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the corporate structure and the politics and all that stuff, but I got, getting, we would get $500 a night rooms for like $20 in these great resorts.
Because
for
you
just,
worked there.
Employee, yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's a nice perk. Okay, so you do that for, what did you say, like 15 years, something like
15 years. I was always kind of moonlighting, but I did that for about 15 years.
So what was the thing that got you to move off of that?
Yeah, well, like I said, I was always kind of moonlighting or dabbling in something, or getting a real estate license, or getting a securities license, or just doing something on the side all the time.
So you were kind of like side hustle seeking, as they say, right?
Right.
Trying on different dresses and shoes and saying, does this fit? Right? Kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
And then I went on vacation with my husband at the time. We went to Seattle. And when I came back, it was just like the office blew up. It was just a political bloodbath there.
Wow.
So it was weird when I came back from vacation. And so, and then I just came back from vacation. So I was like not up for the game anymore.
Okay.
And I called him from the hallway and told him what was going on. And he's like, just leave. And so I got my I had a little convertible Volkswagen Beetle, and I packed my stuff up and left. And it's not like walking out of a job at, not to be, over the top or anything. It's not like walking out of a job at McDonald's. I was in charge of the whole Western region of the United States. So it was kind of a big job.
Yeah, no, it was a big deal.
Yeah,
so,
and I didn't say anything.
you were creating a jaw-dropping moment, right? You just kind of like watching that show, the World's Greatest. I mean, all of a sudden, what? Erica's walking out? You literally just left.
I just left. I didn't say anything. They thought I was going to lunch, probably.
Except all of your crap was gone.
Yeah, well, I'm a minimalist, so I only had one box.
Okay, gotcha. So you were already a minimalist.
Yeah, pretty much. Not to the degree, but I was very, very, very organized, which what happened next was I started a professional organizing business because I was really good at decluttering and getting spaces, to getting spaces to look better and less cluttered, and helping people shed their excess stuff. And then we sold their excess stuff online in our online consignment store. So I was trying to fund their dreams with their clutter. That's
awesome.
Yeah, I was getting them to sell their stuff so they could finally go on the big trip or write the book or start the business or leave their partner that they didn't like anymore. So
I love it.
Yeah.
That's fun. So is that the thing that you did immediately after walking out of the office? You just started being a declutter consultant, basically? Because, you can get a show on Netflix doing that now.
I know. Not many people knew what it was back in, oh my gosh, when was this? 2004. Right, it was really hard. No one knew what professional organizing was, even though there was an association and everything.
Right. Okay.
But I did that for quite a long time, and we kind of made it like a mini franchise system or a mini licensing kind of system.
All right.
Yeah. So I did that for quite a while.
That sounds like fun. I mean, you get to do whenever I clean up a space, right? Or, unclutter a space, you kind of feel free, right?
Yeah. It's a huge
going away from stuff, right? It's like
everything's energy, and becoming a minimalist really opens up your energy and your focus.
Well, I can tell a story. So, I as I was in the Air Force, right, you're constantly moving, right? Mm-hmm. And there's local moves, and then there's the big move, right? So in between the big moves, you have to move a gajillion times too, right? But the big moves were always the best, because I got into this spiritual, this act of the dwindling amount of keys, until, it's like, oh, okay, I've sold all my cars. I don't have those anymore. And then the final key is I've turned in my house key, and now I'm keyless. Yeah. For the next month, I'm basically homeless, right? In between bases. So it's no feeling in the world. So I totally get the spiritual aspect. Now, I haven't really gotten to the physical aspect of, not having a ton of stuff, because we still have a ton of stuff. But I can totally appreciate that, that whole don't let stuff define you kind of thing on a not an actual level. I mean, my wife and I have always been weird. And at some point we realized that, spending money you don't have on crap you don't need doesn't make you happy. So, and we've been on board with that for years and years and years. Then that I think is one of the things that minimalists, that's what they're really embracing up. And then that goes along with the actual declutter and just living out of a backpack kind of idea. Mm-hmm. Not everybody needs to be as extreme, but you can, Yeah. So talk about how you got to backpack mode, because that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So everything, I was living at a lot of resorts that were sponsoring my podcast for a while. And then I bought a Jeep just a few months ago. So now I can do Airbnbs too. And so I basically travel around about every 3 months or so, but lately it's been a little bit more hectic with some projects that are going on. But I just have basically my clothes and my electronics for work, and my 2 dogs and their stuff, and 1 box of must-have kitchen items, because you go to all these different places and you don't know if they'll have a strong enough blender and things like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I have basically that.
So everything you own can fit into a Jeep? Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, Jeep Sahara.
That's amazing. And the dogs too.
The dogs they're little mini dachshunds, but they're little car seat things take up the whole back seat. So really it's just the trunk area and the front seat that have stuff.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's okay. All right. Now I'm getting, so you don't have a house.
No,
So you live out of Airbnbs.
Airbnbs and hotels that sponsor the podcast. And then, of course, sometimes we pay for the hotels.
Of course. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing this since about 2012-ish for full time.
Right.
And it was a whole process over several years. First,
basically selling all your crap. It takes a long time.
Selling everything and houses and other electronics and everything. So the first big move was when I did walk out of that last corporate job. We had the typical picket fence Orange County house, and we sold that and a bunch of stuff, and moved to a apartment in Newport Beach, like an ocean view apartment, because I was just always going after I left that job. I was always just going after, what do I really want out of life? Why are we paying all this money for this house it's a nice gated community, but my goal was to have an ocean view and I don't have it. So how can I get that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, you'd have to go get it. Right?
Yeah. But we just fell into the trap of having the corporate jobs and having the picket fence house and the 2 cars and this and that and everything. So that was the first big move. And then it just gradually became more and more and more, because I did like how the minimalism freed up the energy and the focus on the business, and selling a lot of my own clutter is the way that I funded, my first business as well. So that I turned that into doing it for other people.
Right. So you started like basically saying, I don't need this. I'm going to sell it on eBay or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So did the husband come along for the ride, or did he get decluttered?
He came along for a little bit. He did initially move to the Newport Beach apartment, but then I started being more and more of an entrepreneur, and he really couldn't understand or stomach the stress a lot of times.
No, I get it.
So so no, we're great friends, but we're not together anymore.
I understand. I think I met the same crossroads when I was trying to do the solopreneur gig, that if this was going to work out, the marriage wasn't. But I decided to keep the wife. Me, I got a job. It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's it. Everyone, it's different for everyone.
And the thing is for me, and, I don't know if you've ever done this, but when you're just starting out thinking about, being an entrepreneur, you start Googling, like, what's an entrepreneur? What's it like to be an entrepreneur? And you'll maybe Google onto one of these things where it says, there's a personality test for, somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur. Right. And it would always tell me that I'm not the personality to be an entrepreneur. You don't have what it takes emotionally to be an entrepreneur. Just get a job. That's what it said.
Right.
Yeah. And it turns out it was right. It was totally okay. It is okay. You're right.
Yeah. I do think there's a lot of pressure nowadays to be an entrepreneur, and people that shouldn't be or aren't going to be happy as an entrepreneur are trying so hard, and they're not going to make it because it is very hard. And if your gut and heart aren't in it, you're not going to make it. So you might as well get a job and spare yourself.
Right. Not everybody is wired that way.
Right.
Right. It's not.
Anyone can learn, but.
Yeah. Right. Anyone. Yes. But like what you said, if your heart's not in it, and that's, I think that it's for me, it was like a discovery. It was like, oh, it was just like, I've never wanted to do anything that much in my life.
Right.
Every time I would get into this thing about, like, people would like say things like, but is it something that you must do? I'm like, no, it's not something I have to do. It's just something I could do to make money. And they're like, no, you can't do that then. Like, what do you mean? Well, if it's not something that you have to do, you have to go find that thing. I'm like, There's nothing I have to do.
There's nothing I have to do that much.
There's nothing I have to do.
But it's great, side hustle thing for someone in a job just to bring in extra money. But then there's no pressure on it.
Amen to that. Oh, if anybody's going to do like retail, kind of stuff like my wife's got amazing eBay selling skills. She's awesome. Me, not so much. You know what? I'm good at like helping her post stuff and then printing out the shipping labels. That's about, where my skills kind of help out. Occasionally I'll help her do some copy, but she's got like this thing where she'll go out and buy used Japanese books, mostly comics and maybe some DVDs, things like that. So she'll send out like hey, I'm coming to LA. Does anybody have any books they need to get rid of on the Japanese web, basically? and people will email her back and say, yeah. And she'll say, okay, I'll pay you $1 a book. And then she'll turn around and sell them for, $3 a book.
Wow, that's cool. It's kind of fun for her. And then she gets some.
It's all just for fun. If she makes like $100, she's like ecstatic. It's a blast. I enjoy it too, because the last time we went to LA, we got this, I think we stopped at like 3 or 4 different places. And most of those places, they're just getting rid of their junk. We're not even paying. It's like we go to this hairdresser and they've got a pile of Japanese magazines. And we just take them, and they're like, "Thanks for taking them."
That's funny.
Yeah, and then the other one is, okay, we're buying them for $1 a book, and we get like a box of 100 books or something, and then she can sell them. It's a really fun, and it goes along with the, the last time we moved, she gave me the order of go through your CDs and your games and your stuff and tell me what you don't want anymore. And I was like, CDs, DVDs, I don't want those anymore. There's Netflix now.
Right.
So we've been in the process of not having those, since 2017, basically. So yeah, I'm into it.
Sounds like you're on the path.
We are. It's very slow. Yeah, it's very slow. The very slow path to minimalist. So okay. So let's talk a little bit more about your journey. So what have you been doing now that you're like living out of a backpack? You're basically doing the same gig, or like what's Google Bait? It's an interesting name. I like it.
Yeah, I'll give you the short version. I was a professional organizer for quite a long time, but then I realized that I wasn't a very good organizer because I didn't want to organize anything. I just wanted people to get rid of those things. I didn't want to organize. So
your way of organizing is just get a dump truck, right? Okay.
Yeah, just back up the truck, and that didn't go over well sometimes. But anyways, I was getting kind of burnout on that anyway. Sure. It's kind of a dirty job. It looks glamorous on Netflix and all, but it's kind of dirty.
Okay.
And so we sold all that off. We sold the software that we created for the consignment store and everything.
Wow.
And
well, good for you.
Yeah, thank you. I always had all the other organizers in town asking me how, because I was really interested in technology and marketing online. So all the other organizers in town started asking me, how do you get clients on Facebook? And how did you do this? And how did you do that? So I started coaching them instead of doing the organizing. And then through referrals and through my content and social media and everything, I'm now working with entrepreneurs in every industry, not just organizers, to get their message clear and get online visibility and put their packages together. And a lot of it's mindset, like we were talking, the mindset of an entrepreneur, coaching them on that. And then Google Bait is it's a new way of doing SEO. So it's basically the SEO companies that you see around are still doing SEO like it's 2006. And there's been a lot of Google updates where the stuff they're doing doesn't even matter. So it's a big waste of money. So
Right.
Yeah, so this kind of all goes for full circle because we created the Google Bait code that we use. We created it for our consignment store that we had online to sell the clutter because we had to beat eBay at Google. If someone was searching for a Cinderella sculpture on eBay or anywhere, actually on Google, our listing, we wanted to come up before eBay. So I
Okay.
had
That's a tough challenge, really.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I had a partner is one of the many things he does is build software and codes and stuff. So
Okay.
he built that for me 8 years ago. And then 8 years later, I got this batch of clients that they would set their website up and they would set all their things up and pick their fonts and have their photo shoot and pick their colors and put their packages together. But when push came to shove and it was time to launch their business and start selling and marketing themselves, they just wouldn't do it. And long story short, it's most likely it was all based on fear. They just wouldn't do it. So I'm like, wait a minute, maybe we can use our consignment store code software that got our stuff above eBay. Maybe we could use that for the clients so they didn't have to run around and market and hustle and be on Facebook all day. They could just let the power of Google get traffic to their website and get leads.
Okay.
So that's
right.
where it was out of my some of my whiny clients forced me to create software. And then we did so I'm still coaching and consulting and doing Google Bait, but we did it for a solid year and we're still doing it, but it's a lot of work because everything's hand coded.
Oh,
so
wow.
then
Yeah, and the chasing Google is an endless job.
Right. So we built an app called LeadBait. So it's LeadBait powered by Google Bait, where he was able to duplicate the code or the system and
Okay.
just change out the branding for each client. So now all we have to do is change out the branding, and they can log in and make their little Google Bait pages, and we don't have to hand code anything anymore. It's just replicated.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
Code yourself out of a job. Good for you.
Right.
Yes.
It's a membership model now, so it's not like one client after the other. It's a more of a cash flow friendly thing because it's a membership that they join now.
That's amazing. And it sounds like a little bit less work.
Yeah, a lot less work.
Less work.
Especially for my business partner that needed now just yesterday. He signed this really big deal, so he wouldn't have as much time to code everything for Google Bait. So I'm really grateful that he was able to create LeadBait so we can keep helping people with their SEO,
Right.
and he can do other projects.
Awesome. So that sounds amazing. Now,
Yeah.
I wanted to get into this sort of like how you use the luxury and minimalism together. So talk a little bit about the luxury part of your whole scheme here.
Yeah, so I saw
Those don't really go together, right?
yeah.
We said
They
that
don't
already, but
go
they don't
together.
usually go together.
Yeah, I saw it a different way. I saw all the minimalists online and on YouTube and everything, and they were,
dirtbag
doing the whole backpack vagabond version.
Yes.
And that wasn't what I wanted to do. I mean, I will be in nature all day long, but at the end of the day, I want to go to a
real bed.
resort.
You want a real bed. Yes.
Yeah, I want to go to a resort. I'll be outside all day long and hike up mountains, but I don't want to go. I don't want to end the day there.
You don't want to live in a van down by the river.
Right.
You and my wife are on the same page.
Right.
Okay.
And then I love the luxury resorts and how minimalistic they were. And it's about buying really high quality, but only one of them. kind of thing.
No, and it's more like you're sort of like, how can we say this? Instead of buying luxury, you're kind of like renting it.
Yeah, or experiencing it. Or I don't have 4 closets full of clothes and shoes. I have like 8 dresses, but they're really high end to my style and brand. They're, Tommy Bahama stuff. And,
Right.
so they're high, they're not things from Target. So they last a really long time and they're really high quality and they're luxurious to me because that's the style I like. So, but I only have, 8 to 10 at a time. And then when those get kind of looking a little worn out or I'm sick of them, then I just go get a new set of 8 or whatever. So
and then you recycle those using your systems.
Right. Yeah. Or
now, as you get famous, you can make more money off of your used dresses.
Yeah. Well, by the time I'm done with them, they're usually not worthy.
Yes.
But,
that's great.
Yeah. Or
Good.
just I don't have a full, jewelry box of random things. I have like 4 things that I really love or they mean something.
Right.
The Jeep. People said, why don't you get, a lower end one? You only use it, once every 3 months to go somewhere new. And I was like, no, because this is the one I want. This is the one with all the bells and whistles that I wanted. Right.
Well, but I don't have when you only buy 8 at a time, then you can afford to splurge a little.
Right.
Yeah. Because you're only getting 8. You're not filling a closet. I get it. Okay. See, so now that makes sense. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your podcast because you just said that you got to episode 200. And I think you're going to be episode 201, but I'm not really counting. So I'm kind of cheating that. But I know I'm around 200. But for a while, I counted my reruns. So that number is not accurate, but it's 200-ish, let's say. It's the number I'm using when I use episode numbers. But anyway, talk about your podcasts.
Yeah, so I had a podcast for over 2 years and it's still up. It's called Erica Duran Show, Freedom-Based Luxury Lifestyle Design Radio. But it's in archive right now, but it is still up. And when I do interviews, we add to the archive channel. Okay. And then coming soon in the next week or so, I'm going to launch a new Erica Duran show called Unscripted because my old show was kind of a lot of how-to and a lot of time management stuff, a lot of productivity stuff, a lot of new entrepreneur stuff. Okay. And the new show is going to be more
lifestyle.
Lifestyle. What I'm up to, kind of like an audio vlog.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Yeah, more so than what I'm doing, what's worked for me, what's not working for me. There'll probably be some rants in there. So just more of a mismatch of whatever I'm up to rather than
the nuts and bolts.
Six ways to get clients from Twitter.
It's so much work. Yeah, it's just a ton of work doing those things. That's why when I landed on this interview, sort of like lifestyle interview where we just chat for an hour, it is literally effortless relative to, say like, let's write a blog post and talk about it for an hour.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work. It
was so funny because I spent hours on show notes and I polled my audience and no one goes to the show notes. Why am I spending all this time on this freaking show notes?
Amen. Now, okay, there is value. I'll tell you this. There is value in having really, really long, detailed show notes. Right. Even if people don't read them, they have an SEO value, but I will never do them myself. And as long as the podcast is a hobby, I'm not paying someone else to do them right. But like if you go look at Tim Ferriss's show notes, they're very lengthy. Yeah. But he's also paying someone a lot of money to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think they have value, but it's Google value. I don't know how many people actually go there and click on stuff.
But actually, if it does have SEO value, but if you're on a platform like WordPress or Wix or Squarespace, those platforms are so cumbersome that it's almost not worth the time even to pay someone. I mean, if you're the level of Tim Ferriss, just go ahead and pay someone. But the time versus the return on that,
yes, you're right.
If you're Yeah, if you're on a platform that is not Google friendly, then and it's very cumbersome with their code, then yeah, it's not worth it.
So WordPress is not Google friendly. Is that what you just said?
Not I mean, you can get found on Google obviously, but there's so much clutter in their code with those do-it-yourself website builders that they slow down your site a ton.
That's true.
And that's what Google Bait's all about. It's taking all that cluttery code out of your website and just giving really clean pages that are super fast. Most of them load in less than 1 second.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's smart.
So Google likes speed and certain
cleanliness.
Yeah, yes. So it's all about decluttering still. Now we're decluttering code.
I feel this theme here. It's a nice thread through the Erica Duran life. So that's amazing. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've covered everything. What else do you want to talk about?
I'm just a little stunned because a really big project came in yesterday, and so it's very surreal right now. But we might have just broke the 7-figure mark, so I'm a little bit.
Congratulations! Is that scary?
Thank you. I'm a little bit. It doesn't seem real yet, and it's not fully closed yet, but it's going really well. And I thought 2019 would be the year that I just felt it. I didn't have any data to back it up.
That number that you just said, the 7-figure mark, there's something in DNA when you surpass a comma that shifts, right?
Yeah,
so, I know.
It's funny because I forget that because it just happened yesterday. So I'm kind of like,
oh, you're still in shock. You're still in shock. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in my routine. And I'm like, should I be doing this? Should I be doing like I'm reevaluating everything again? It's weird.
I'm a millionaire now. What's that mean?
Well, the company is. I don't know what the net to me will be.
Okay. All right. Understood. That's pretty neat, though. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. So
wow.
that was on my mind.
That was on my mind. Yeah. I get it. No, I understand. So, have you ever watched the show? Come on, it's the one about all the nerds on HBO, and it's about the entrepreneurs. Man, I'll get it.
I've only really ever seen 2 shows in the last 15 years. I've only seen Dexter and Game of Thrones.
Okay. All right. So you haven't seen the show, but anyway, I'll figure it out later. There was one of the investors, because they're all getting investors and stuff, was he was a billionaire, but due to some weirdness, he went below the $1 billion threshold, and he was in a deep funk about losing his comma. Yeah. I just thought that was funny. But
yeah, I mean that happened to us in 2009 when we had a mortgage auditing company, and Obama changed some policies, and we lost commas.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, thanks, Obama.
There was a lot of people. My cousin had a business. She had a school for cosmology. Am I saying that right? Cosmetology. Yeah. And then hairdressing. She had a school, and because of something Obama did, she had to not have that business anymore.
Yeah.
So
it took a really long time to turn it around again.
Right. So Obama kind of was like, I don't know who he was working for, but he wasn't making a lot of small business people happy.
Right. Exactly.
And he probably got some Trump votes, Mm-hmm. My cousin voted for Trump not because of anything other than the fact that she didn't want more Obama.
Right.
And Hillary was promising more Obama, right? So anyway, we digress. So I think we're getting close to wrapping up. So where can folks that want to get in touch with Erica Duran reach out and touch, as they say, digitally only.
Yeah. Well, all the links to everywhere else are on ericaduran.co, and
Gotcha.
It's ERICA. A lot of people put a K in it. And then I recently just decluttered my social media. So I used to be on all platforms all day, all the time, and now I'm only doing Instagram for 30 days, like to see. And it's already been past the 30 days, so I think I'm going to keep it that way.
Instagram only?
Instagram only, and ericaduran.co, and the podcast is going to be coming up soon as well, the new one.
Awesome. So you're off Facebook?
We have the pages up there, it's like
You're just not
basically
going
a placeholder. Yeah, it's
Okay.
like a basically an electronic yellow page ad. Basically.
Okay.
It's not.
You minimalized it. Yes.
Yeah, it's just who we are and what we do. It's not updated often at all.
It's there so you can link to the good stuff. Right.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I'm about done with social media too. I use Twitter, but I really don't like Facebook other than like looking at my nieces and nephews and things like that. That's all I really want to do on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook's just I used to get 80% of my business from Facebook, organic Facebook, not even ads, but I'm just like need to move on. It's kind of a negative space, and it's kind of just every time they do an update, it's just a mess. So
right. I never really did anything other than, automatically post from WordPress. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I just don't, there's something about it that's psychologically oppressive. Is that I
never heard it described that way.
Does that sound about right? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
it's
I
just
could say
annoying.
Yeah. And the user interface is just a mess too. It's just
yes. It needs to either get better or go away, one or the other.
Yeah, and Google Plus is going away, so that's good.
Amen. I don't think anybody will miss it.
Nope, no one knows it exists either.
Hey, this has been a blast. So I appreciate
so much
you
fun.
hanging out with me on a Friday. So you have a good one. And if you want to do this again, just reach out and let me know.
Yeah, anytime. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.